Please go subscribe to the Rumble channel for Franchise Sports TV under the name FSTV22. Now, I'm using that Rumble channel for any purposes of me getting kicked off YouTube and also for more of my spicier joints. It's free as well, and I have the freedom to say whatever I want to say as well. So go subscribe to FSTV22. That is Franchise Sports TV 22 on Rumble. I'm laughing at some of you guys with these polls because I think it was either Sunday or Monday. In these polls, I asked who win between the Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think only the Cavaliers got 2% of the votes because LeBron James was on that team. That's quite funny. It's also funny that I saw, I think it was yesterday, the Washington Wizards and Philadelphia matchup, and nobody voted for the Wizards. Y'all funny. But anyways, see, people got mad at me about talking about how much of a fraud James Harden is. Him earning the nickname James Frauden or Lame Harden. Choking in the playoffs. Becoming a loser in the playoffs. But there's someone that has gone quietly into the night, silently into the night, not getting any of the smoke, not becoming one of the subjects or topic of discussion on tainted legacies. Well, guess what? I think his time has finally come. I think his moment has arrived. And I try to give him a benefit of a doubt due to how, let's say, he reacts in with the public. But recently, what he has said in an interview when he was on the Cam and May show has put him in this category of being his whole legacy being tainted. But before I begin, like, share, and comment, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. The more you guys like the video, the more you help the channel. And it's free too. I forgot to say that because some of the videos, I don't know what YouTube's going. Sometimes I have like 10 likes on a video. Next thing I know, I look back at that video, it has 5. So I don't know what's going on. But make sure you like the video. And I also said I was going on hiatus for a minute, but I had to say this to make myself perfectly clear about this person because I need to be fair about him. But Damian Lillard, and I know Ticket TV, Too Raw, I've done videos about this, but Ticket TV really gave him 3 the hard way because he deserves it. Because, like I said, he's been escaping criticism. And I think, I kind of say, the more you stay in the league, the more you talk, the more you get exposed. And therefore, your legacy starts to be in question. And Damian Lillard's legacy is starting to be in question. It's unfortunate, and I think this is true about the Portland Trailblazers. They pretty much have been cursed. You think back to their arrival in the NBA back in the 1970 season, I think it was. I'm trying to think on the top of my head. And then a couple years later, they drafted Bill Walton. Bill Walton, during his entire years with Portland, they've been successful, but also you could say they have been cursed because Bill Walton was having those foot injuries during that time to the point when he was almost out of the league. But he came back with the Boston Celtics and won the 2nd ring with them. He did win a ring with Portland. Let's not forget that. But he came back with the Boston Celtics, won a ring, and also I think he won 6th Man of the Year. But if you keep going down the line, the history of the Portland Trail Blazers, they drafted Sam Bowie. That didn't work out. Still got Clyde Drexler, but they got to the finals twice. They got beat by the Pistons, then beat by the Bulls a couple years later. And then they found themselves unlucky in the Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals back in the 2000s against Kobe and Shaq Lakers. And then they was nicknamed the Jail Blazers during that time. And then they had a period of suckiness they had from then on. And then it looks like they're going to turn the corner because they end up drafting LaMarcus Aldridge, Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, I think Nicholas Batum. And you think this team is going to be they're going to be the next big thing. And all of a sudden, Greg Oden doesn't work out due to injuries, his knees. And then all of a sudden, Brandon Roy doesn't work out due to his knees messing up. And who comes right after that is one Damian Lillard. And just to think, man, they probably would have got him. But let's just say they did get him. Imagine the team if they was all healthy. Damian Lillard, Brandon Roy, whoever at the small forward position, Batum, whoever you put there. And then LaMarcus Aldridge and Greg Oden, this team could possibly be in the finals on this area. But it didn't work out that way. And then Brandon Roy, like I said, he's gone. Leaves just LaMarcus Aldridge. They still got LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard and soon CJ McCullough and some other pieces. You think this team will actually do well? Nope. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Not at all. And that leaves Damian Lillard with CJ McCullough. And then eventually he's now just Damian Lillard there by himself, claiming he wants to be loyal to the Portland Trail Blazers. I think deep down, he doesn't want to be loyal. He calls out KD for joining the super team with the Golden State Warriors. I guess he tried to do the same with Paul George. I forgot that even happened, that he called out Paul George for that. But apparently, it's right. Paul George, when he wanted to go to the Lakers were garbage. But I don't think it was so much about Paul George going to the Lakers. I think Paul George wanted to get out of Indiana. He ended up getting traded to OKC. He tells OKC, whenever it happens, I want to be traded to either one of the LA teams because he wanted to be in LA. So that leaves me questions about the whole OKC years with him, Carmelo and Russ. All of them get shipped to LA eventually. It's funny. But you had that whole situation, him calling him out. But this whole thing I spoke about this before on Tainted Legacies, but this whole thing of trying to go to Miami, which really doesn't make sense to me because they trade your ass to Miami. Miami has to give something back. And Portland is not going to ask for something as simple as just Tyler Hero. They going to want more than that. They going to want at least Bam Adebayo or somebody. They ain't going to be just fine with Tyler Hero or some picks. No, they going to want something else for their services of trading Damian Lillard. And if they do trade Damian Lillard there from Bam Adebayo, which I think will possibly happen, because I don't think anybody else is going to want to be put in this trade, they already lack in height. Miami already lacks in height. Not to say that teams with the height that Miami has have not won. You think back to the Washington Bullets back in the 70s. Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes were around the same height. They was 6'9", 6'8", but they managed to still win. So I'm not saying that's smaller teams can't win, but here's the problem with Dame, which Tiki TV actually pointed out, which we all seem to forget. If we go back to at least 2017-18 season, right? We go back to that 2018 playoffs. And the Portland Trail Blazers are 3rd seed, right? Playing the 6th seed, New Orleans Pelicans. This is the same New Orleans Pelicans that had Anthony Davis, had DeMarcus Cousins, but DeMarcus Cousins gets hurt. But they still got Anthony Davis, surprising who was still even healthy around that time. Drew Holiday, Rondo were the main pieces of their team. And the Portland Trail Blazers get swept. Number 3 seed in the West gets swept. Damian Lillard is nowhere to be found. And I remember that series very well because I was actually surprised and amazed on how the Portland Trail Blazers got swept. Drew Holiday put the clamps. But still, you couldn't win 2 games out of that series. You got swept by a lower seed. And then you skip to 2019 season Western Conference Finals. I forgot even Steph Curry was hurt during this time. We all knew KD was hurt. This was like the beginning of the end with KD being on the Golden State Warriors and beginning of the end of the Achilles too for KD. KD didn't even play that series. But Damian Lillard gets whooped by a Klay Thompson-led Warriors, straight to the finals. Skip 2 years later, 2021 season, postseason, they played the Denver again, because they did play Denver 2 seasons before that in that epic 7-game series in semifinals. So you get to the first round of 2021 playoffs, and they lose again. No Jamal Murray. I don't even think Michael Porter Jr. was even playing that series. So there's a losers, as BFACs call it, a loser's mentality with Damian Lillard as well. To say he's the best point guard in the league, I say skills-wise, him and Steph Curry about the same. Steph Curry probably edged him out a little bit. They both can shoot, but both of them take shots that most people would not agree to taking. But Steph Curry gets the green light because he's most likely going to make it. Dame just sitting here pulling up from half court. But to call himself the best point guard in the league, I don't know. There's something missing about Dame's game. I don't know if it's the mentality or what that he folds in big games. Because he, like James Harden, he hasn't done anything either. I don't agree with him being on the top 75 list either. There's a couple people, and this is for people who are fans of these players that say are not top 75. Deal with it. There's a couple of people on that list that don't deserve to be on there. Because what have they really done? And Damian Lillard is really one of the ones that don't need to be on there. Worse than Harden. Because you only been to a Western Conference Finals once in your career. And the last 2 seasons now, you've been at the bottom. They ain't getting mad at management, Portland Trailblazers management, for drafting picks and still trading them so you can stack your team. See, where I think Damian Lillard should go, actually, which will still be a super team, but it would make more sense because now you have more height in that team, will be the Milwaukee Bucks. But I think a lot of teams now, because I don't think Damian Lillard is going to get traded to Miami at all, to tell you the truth. But I think a lot of these executives are probably out here talking about this and probably want no parts of Damian Lillard, looking back at his history. So that's probably why nobody else has stuck there. But he's so adamant about going to Miami. I don't think Miami is adamant about having him on the team. It's much too late. I don't think Pat Riley is moving for it, pushing for it at all. I don't even think he wants to put up with it. I know the media keeps trying to float that idea out there, but I don't think it's going to happen at all for him. But unfortunately, like it or not, Damian Lillard's career is tainted. It really is if you look back at it. I think he is in his head, he's living with those 2 game-winning shots, the one in 2014 against Houston and another one against OKC in 2019. All first rounds, too. I think he's living off that a little bit too much. And I think he's getting too much of a big head about it because he also called himself clutch. And if you clutch, you would have done more instead of get swept against the New Orleans Pelicans. And then you would have did more against Klay Thompson-led Golden State team. I ain't say he had to win the series. At least win a game in the series. He got swept in both series. That's some loser-type stuff right there. With me, you actually got to do something. At least get to a final. At least James Harden been to a final. Well, then again, he wasn't a man. But you got to win something. Be consistent with it. You can't be, I got to the Western Conference Finals one time and then don't show up anymore for the next couple of years. I don't know. That's just the way I look at basketball. Stats and regular season stats don't really impress me because that don't mean nothing when you get to the regular season. Because those are 2 different, postseason. Those are 2 different seasons in one. Regular season is a totally different monster for the post game. Actually, postseasons are really totally different monsters from regular seasons. The other way around. That's when the boys become men. That's when the men show out. That's when it really matters. Not no regular season jacking up 35 points a game. Crap. It'd be impressive you put up 35 points a game in the regular season, then put up another 33 points a game and actually do something with it. Scoring a lot of points don't mean anything. That don't mean winning. But anyways, Damian Lillard, your legacy is tainted.